Peace, and welcome to another episode of Elevate the Mic. And I'm your host, Max Mupesi. Today, the guest I'm sitting next to has a reputation that supersedes him. He does a lot of things for the community in Montreal, in Africa, all over the world. Is someone who I like to say, you better put some respect on his name. Let us all welcome Monk.E. How you feeling?
I'm good, my G. You
Wish we
good?
had the crowd and just
Yeah.
everybody scream, yo, what's up?
Happy to be here, my brother.
Thank you,
Grateful.
man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. How you feeling, man? How's life in general?
Life is good. Like I'm in a crunch time, so I'm producing a lot. It's summertime in Montreal, the festivals, the murals. But I love to be tired for the right reason, you know. So I'm spending all my energy into valuable, inspiring projects, which makes my soul be fulfilled. So I can't complain.
Man, when I told myself we need to get Monkey on the show, I'm like, I know there's gonna be moments where he's gonna drop gems and I'm gonna feel inspired, or I just know that there's gonna be that awe moment. And you already started, man. Shoot, man, that's good. So Monk E,
Yeah.
you grew up in Drummondville.
Yeah, first 15 years, I grew up in Drummondville. It was a mainly white French-speaking community. My parents adopted an orphan from Port-au-Prince from Haiti. When I was 6, she was 1. So I could grew up seeing racism from a closer testimony. I could see how my sister was treated compared to how I was treated in school, in buses, in public places, and everything. And I think it sculpted my desire for social change, and it sculpted also my passion for the culture we call hip hop. Because in addition to the beauty of that culture, there's also a political part, there's a spiritual part to that culture.
Yeah.
So yeah, grew up in Drummondville, and around 14, I discovered the hip hop culture, which completely changed my life and the path of my journey.
Got it. I was gonna ask you the bittersweet moments of growing up in Drummondville, so you pretty much answered it. The fact that you saw your sister, how she was treated, and everything else. Well, those moments, sometimes what happens is that those moments could be hurtful or painful for us, but then they teach us something greater at the end. Like, okay, you know what? I developed another side of me that makes this world a better place.
Yeah.
So would you say that actually was
Obviously, I
that?
think it's the reality for empathy and compassion in general. Once you start relating to others
Yes.
and feeling the pain that they may feel, this world is filled with pain. You're going to be in pain. And that's why a lot of people, they cut empathy, they cut compassion, and they go back into individualism, materialism, self-comfort, you know. But true artists have to stay sensitive. They have to be able to sponge the fullness of their reality, including the beautiful epiphanies and also the painful reality that is surrounding us, you know. Sometimes our own pain, sometimes the pain of the people around us. So I would say it was a first step into that, realizing that other people's pain is also my pain, and if we're really one in that spirituality of oneness, then the pain of others will also trigger my own pain. And I think pain is a teaching mechanism. If we touch fire, it hurts because our body is telling us, hey, don't put your hands the fire. You're going to destroy your skin. You're going to destroy your nervous system. So I think in a spiritual level and emotional level is the same thing too, you know. Like if injustice is painful to me, then I have to fight for justice. I have to make sure that my reality is filled with justice, you know. So I think pain is always a teaching mechanism.
True. That's very powerful. Pain is always a teaching mechanism. I hope that they took that in consideration and start writing that as a note bar or something. So, can you also tell us about your gift of painting? Because we're not talking about painting.
Yeah, but that's it. I have a song on my new album saying you can't spell painting without
Without
pain in it, you know? And I think that's what makes me a great painter. It's the fact that I don't scare away from pain, you know? I dig into the painful reality we live, you know? But as a painter, I started super young. I would even say I speak 3 languages verbally, like French, English, and Spanish. But I would say my first language is visual art, because even before having vocabulary to speak, I was already taking colors and drawing things, communicating with my mother, with my brother. I was communicating things with the colors I was choosing, the shape I was choosing to draw, you know. So it started really early, and I think all of us have this innocent, childish, creative mind, you know.
Right.
Society push us to amputate part of it and to kind of fit the mold of other function and other professions. So we let go of that playful mind, you know. But me, I've refused. I refused to let go of it, and it became with just drawing, and it became painting, and then murals, and then body painting, and then calligraphy, and then sculptures, and then it has no stop. Once you allow your creativity to be contagious, it will spread into other areas of your life, you know. But I would say also like writing, like literature, was also an early gift that I received. I was creating my own cartoons, the dialogue between the characters, the images, the landscape, and I think that's what was the premise of me becoming such a precise rapper and such a precise painter. It comes from these layers of learning through different styles of literature, different styles of visual arts that created the amalgamation. I don't know if that's a word in English, but the compilation of what I'm composed of, you know.
Which I understand why you're telling me you're tired for the right reasons, because it makes me think of what you said after, the playful mind, the playful way of moving, and you always keep that alive. You always keep that spirit alive. So that's not gonna make you feel like you're working. You're pretty much in a playground. You're enjoying what you're doing. So that, would you say that's something that keeps you alive a lot more, or it's just building upon those experiences?
I would say it's, now we spoke of the child in me, but I would say I'm keeping alive the teenager in me. I'm keeping alive the young adult, and I'm even keeping alive the future old man, you know. It's not like I can only be a child. I'm allowed to have moment where the child in me is taking leadership, but most of the time I still have to be an adult in this world, paying taxes, sending invoices, and making sure I'm on time on
boring
meetings,
stuff.
you know. Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm, and through all of this, I have to keep the innocence of being a child, but I need to keep also the wisdom of being someone who learned from these experiences. A child is also at risk of so many things, you know. So the old man in me had to protect the child to make sure that the fullness of who I am was respected and welcome wherever I go, you know. But I would say I couldn't exist without one of these facets, you know. My personality is the totality of these facets that take leadership at different time and during different situations.
That's very powerful. When we spoke off air, you said Uganda was the country that touched you the most and inspired you the most.
Yeah.
And you also were third, the third freestyler in the world, if I'm not mistaken. You won that.
Yeah, actually,
prize, right?
I was three-time
Three-time.
Canadian champions.
Thank you.
So, but what happened is that once you're Canadian champions, they send you for the world finals.
Okay.
So the first time I went for the world finals, it was in New York. The second time it was in London, and the third time was in Uganda, which was my first time in Africa ever. And from there, often people tell me, oh, why have you been to Morocco? Why haven't you been to China? Or I don't choose where I go. Really, my destiny choose where I go, and the level of opportunity choose where I'll invest myself, you know. And when I arrived in Uganda, Uganda adopted me. Like I was the first artist to paint the National Theater. I painted the Fine Art University, Makerere of Kampala. And then I was recruited by a French diplomat to be the spokesperson for development of French in East Africa.
Okay.
So I start touring, giving poetry classes, concerts, you know, and on. After, like, now I have 11 tours in Uganda. I did a live painting in front of 4 national television and 42,000 people live in an audience of a stadium. I painted all of the most famous models. Like, I body painted the most famous top models in Uganda. I painted for all of the different diplomatic groups, different artistic group, different superstars. I even signed a 1-year contract on national television, for which I was cooking my own meal in a cooking show.
You serious?
I was part of a romantic relation conversation. I was part of the music premiere. You know, so they were putting me in all of these TV shows to reimburse what they owed me as a promotional package deal. You know, so I would say that Uganda is one of the places where I'm the most like a star, I would say, or more like a touching closer to being a celebrity. I think I'm loved and I'm respected, but more as an underground legend, as an underground pillar, more than actually like a full-blown celebrity, even here in my own country, you know. So to be in a place where you are received with so much love, obviously I had to invest that love back, you know. And I was really curious to know what they were seeing in me that other country didn't necessarily jump on, you know. So it created that mutual relation of generosity towards each other that till this day I spent most of my winters in Uganda.
Got it. And when you say invest that love back, you mean by painting, by going there?
Like spiritually, economically, like I don't, that's one of my spirituality. I only make my money in the Western world. Every time I'm in Mexico or Cambodia or Uganda, I don't make money, I spend money. So I make my money during summertime and then I go spend it for the video director in Uganda, photographers, bodyguard, apartments, taxi drivers, whatever. I spend all of my winter, I spend the money I made in third world context. And to me, that's kind of the way to rebalance karma, rebalance the injustice, which is still the same conversation as when I was a 6 years old, seeing my sister being insulted for no reason, you know? So seeing that the currency in Africa is not as respected as other currencies, seeing that Africa is not part of the conversation. In many conversations, they are censored, they are blocked, they are demonized. So to me, it was kind of like an obligation to go create that bridge for myself with the African wealth, the tradition, the spiritualities. And there's something that touched me a lot. The first time I was there, there's a Kenyan poet that told me, I hope you're not one of these person that think you're going to come save Africa, you know? Because Africa never asked to be saved. And also you have to understand that if you were called to help Africa, really is because you know in yourself that your plate is too full for what you actually deserve. And it's part of your own guilt that you're coming to Africa to help. So it's not you saving Africa, it's Africa saving you from your guilt, from the imbalance of your own karma and all of these things. So I started realizing that Africa will put foreigners on a pedestal, and as a righteous man you have to burn that pedestal. You have to see that pedestal and refuse it, you know. Yeah, so that's, to me, that was one of the first tools. And even if we don't know and we don't want, we are filled with national programming which is sometimes sexist, racist, colorist, you know. We have been raised the same TV shows doing the same weird jokes, the same history book telling us about Christophe Colomb and Louis XIV, but not telling us about Mensa Musa, not telling us about the great kingdoms of Africa and the great. So to me, it felt like this hypocrite representation of Africa cannot be dismantled globally. So at least I need to go dismantle it personally in my own life, as I have a real relation to the people there, to the communities, to the diversity there, and be a student and not arrive there as a savior or as an expert. Even if all my expertise is present and available to them, I'm really leaving there with more than I brought, you know. All of the friendship, all of the understanding and the perspective of the world. I think there's great wealth from Africa, from the wide diversity of the 54 African countries, you know. So yeah, I would say I went there. I'm still generous as much as I can, but I know that it's hard to match African generosity because African people are highly generous. And when they love someone and they respect someone, there's a level of loyalty that is impressive and that is lacking in our Western world societies, you know. So yeah, I'm a student of Africa. I'm a proud student of Africa.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all of this information. I mean, there's so many ways to look at it, but you simplified it really well, like just appreciating and knowing where you stand whenever you go to another country, and like how can you add value? Because at the end of the day, myself too, I was born here, I'm still a visitor there. They're still gonna look at me like, hey, you were not born there, so you got to respect the land and appreciate it in a certain way, you know.
And it has changed my way of interacting. It even has brought a lot of understanding of why I'm so frustrated in certain Western world situation, you know. There's certain rules that are established that are everywhere. You don't have to discuss them. If you enter somewhere, you have to salute everyone present under that roof. If you are the younger, you're the one accepting the order from the older one.
Right,
But
right.
if you're the older, you're the one paying for the younger one, you know, and this is clearly established, you know.
Everyone has a duty.
Everyone has a duty, everyone has an order, no one is fighting against that, and everything works well in that collectivity. Here we are influenced, we have our own heating on our seats in the car,
Yeah.
we have our own headphones, our own cylinder, everything is prepared for us to not interact with others and to be fulfilled by our own individualism. So there's something really refreshing when you get out of that kind of platform, like templates,
Yeah.
like that social templates that we have in North America. When you get out of it, you see the wealth of other tradition and other cultures also.
Instead of just complaining like, damn, how come my Uber's late?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly,
hey,
exactly.
There's deeper things than that.
Indeed, 100%.
Shoot. So you've traveled to many countries and work with many artists abroad, right?
Yep.
So what's a common characteristic you've noticed in artists who have stood out whenever you saw them perform wherever you
I would say to me, my favorite artists that I meet around the world, it's all about the virtues, like humility, but not only humility, because humility can bring docility. So it's humility on one side, but it's courage on the other side. So yeah, they're humble when it's their time to listen, but they will scream at you when it's their time to fight for something, you know. And to me, this is what I've loved in the highly gifted and talented artists that I meet around the world, is that it has to be rebalanced with some sort of connection to God, connection to their community, generosity, humility, patience, all of these great virtues that re-enhance the natural gift that they're carrying as an artist, you know. And this is something I think, because I've developed that language, I'm recognized everywhere I go, and I'm welcome in the artistic elite everywhere I go. Even if it's my first time landing in Cambodia, because of the way I dress, because of the way I talk, I will go to one album launch. All of this create an experience in which people are curious, and they include me into the top of the artistic activities that are happening, you know. And those that are the one that goes from collaborators to family members are those that emanate humility and care and empathy and eccentricity and originality and the courage to be themselves, you know. So many people are actors and wear masks, you know, but there's something ephemeral with a success that is based in lies, you know. So those who base their success in their authenticity and their vulnerability are those who will last longer in their life at the top of these industries, you know.
That's good. That's good. What does the title of the album Infrarouge and Ultraviolet, which you recorded in Senegal, mean to you?
There's part of the album that was recorded in Senegal. It's made with a beat maker called Guyver Hypeman from Paris. He's from a old school golden era group called Sayan Super Crew. He's like part of that same family and stuff. And it's our third album. We're closing the trilogy of the album, of the trilogy, with that album. So, and it was an old context. The trilogy was an old storytelling. The first album was Imperial Grey, in which I placed, it's a little bit like the Dark Empire and the Jedis, let's say. So I'm considering the Imperial Grey as the monotony, the dictatorship of boredom, and the obligation of conformity. Of conformity, because everyone is in gray. Everyone that doesn't want to take a risk will dress in gray and in beige, and you can see it all over the world, you know. But there's other culture that dress with colors, and so I created kind of like that polarity, that on one side you have the Imperial Grey, and the second album was the Invincible Colors, which I say they're fighting against each other. The Invincible Color are the unicity, the eccentricity of who we are, you know. And then the third album was Infrarouge and Ultraviolet. What infrared and ultraviolet are, they are invisible colors. So I'm going from boredom to eccentricity to spirituality, you know, because they are unseen, but they still exist. So your rainbow is made of red as the bottom. Then you have 7 colors to arrive at purple at the top, violet at the top. but this is only the things that our eyes can see. So anything that is infrared
Right.
means everything that is below red,
infra-
and everything that is ultraviolet, which is above violet,
Yeah.
still exists around us, but we can't see it to the eyes. So to me, that was kind of the conclusion of that trilogy, was like, yeah, there's the physical boredom, there's the physical solution, but there's also the spiritual solution and reality that we live in. So I would say that's kind of like the third punch of that imagery, of that storytelling that we were telling Guy Verheitman and myself.
Shoot. And how did you meet up with Guy Verheitman? How did that come about? The
I've,
collaboration.
I've been touring since I'm really young. Like since I'm 19, I've been touring all over the world. I have like 78 international tours now. I'm touring
Congratulations,
every
man.
year. I'm having, let's say, 4 or 5 international tour. Okay, I go to Mexico. I tour in Mexico. Boom. I go to Uganda. Then I go Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania. So I have these little tours all the time. And the first time I went to France, that was the only place I was really disappointed. I felt people didn't show interest in connecting with me. All the group are super tight, super hermetic, like super like doesn't allow things to come in. It's like
right.
they'll salute you, but they won't include you. They won't
protective.
bring you to other places. And there's a photographer from Montreal that knew Guy Verheitman, said, "Hey, if you have difficulties connecting, go see my friend. He's gonna welcome you."
Okay.
And matter of fact, he welcomed me, invited me to meet his wife, his child. We made music on the first day, and then from there, he became my transit. Every time I go to Europe, I land in Paris. I drop my stuff at his place, and from there, I go to Belgium, to Switzerland, to whatever. But that became kind of my siège social, my center arrival place for Europe.
Perfect.
And we have now 20 years of friendship, a bit less, like 18 years of friendship.
The beauty of relationships, eh?
And what's beautiful is that on that album, his elder son is 16. He produced 2 beats and he has a verse on the album. So it's kind of like we're passing the torch to the new generation at the same time, you know?
The beauty of relationships.
Yeah.
Like cherishing relationships. That's what I get from you. Like you really value and cherish relationships. That's why you get blessed in abundance after.
I think so. I think the capacity, it's not just like a cliche and a stereotype to say there's no coincidence. Like, I'm going to speak without borders, but like God speaks to you in every encounter you meet.
Yeah.
Every conversation you're going to have during the day, it's God using different tools to communicate things to you, you know? And if you really investigate what is the substance in every conversation, you'll be able to consider more the people talking, consider more what are your mistakes or the things that you need to correct in yourself.
Yeah.
People are going to be a mirror, are going to be mirroring you all the time, you know? So if you properly consider others as a mirror, you're going to be able to see yourself and see yourself from a different perspective that you may not have access to, you know? I will never see the back of my head, but if I have a mirror there and I look at the mirror, I'll be able to see the back of my head. And I think the people we meet, the collaborators, even the haters are part of that reflection about parts that you may not see about yourself, you know? And sometimes haters are only people that are allergic to you not knowing certain elements about yourself. And they are allergic that you carry yourself innocently, even if you are lazy or if you are egocentric or whatever you may be carrying. Your haters will be able to Google map you where the work need to be done, you know? If all your haters are saying, "Oh, this dude is so pretentious," then maybe it's not hate, maybe it's just criticism, you know? And you need to look at how you move in society for people to perceive you as a hater and what need to be changed to be properly presented to the world, you know? So yeah, my friends are a good example of my wealth, but also everyone I meet send me back a layer of understanding of who I am and who I can become if I cleanse myself and if I focus on the right priorities in the process, you know?
What I get from what you're telling, a lot of it is humility and unpack. Constantly have to unpack and really observe, do the inner work.
I think my favorite album title in the world is Miseducation from Lauryn Hill. Just because of that idea, it's so simple. We have been miseducated. So all of these questions of, and now it's coming into light in our generation, you know, consent, institutionalized racism, colorism, patriarchy, all of these things, we were living in it unconsciously 20 years ago, but now consciousness is forcing us to question ourselves on these big things. And there's more to unpack. There's a lot more that we have been miseducated about. And even in now that new wave of wokeness, there is a new miseducation in it. Now we are cleansing ourselves and we're refilling ourselves with other distorted lies or distorted perspective, you know. But yeah, I think unpacking and analyzing and introspection is the basis of spiritual health. You know, you need to be able to look at yourself. And even in my last album with Saint Sucré, I say digging into humiliation will bring you closer to humility. Because being ashamed of something is a moment where you realize you were wrong. And if you properly use that energy, it will bring you the right type of humility for the continuity of your path. You know, being humiliated is a reality check for you to keep yourself humble. So yeah, humility is super important. And as someone who speaks a lot, someone who has big dreams and big ambition, I would say that was more important to learn for me than the counterpart, which could be courage, you know? Because there's some people that are humble, but they won't speak in front of injustice. And to me, that's also a problem. Humility shouldn't be allowing injustice. Humility should be the right time to choose the right battle. But you need to have the courage to change the world and to not be afraid of conflict if conflict will bring positivity to your reality, you know?
That's good. That's good. Not being afraid of conflict if conflict will bring positivity to your reality.
Yeah, it will bring resolution, will bring
that.
some sort of evolution and understanding, you know?
Got it. So I also want to touch on, because we talked about humility. However, to be truthful, you've done a lot of great things that we got to put humility to the side for now. Your company has achieved a number of milestones. If we talk about end of the week, Alchimiographie, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And other global competitions 3 times. Can you tell us about those achievements and which one makes you the most proud so far?
I would say we can speak on the professional accomplishment. Like, for example, I'm the only French-speaking artist that has an original song with Kendrick Lamar. I would say that's one of my accomplishments. I would say the tours we've been talking about, the things I did in Uganda we've been talking about. I did a project fully funded by myself in Rwanda that was picked by National Geographic as an important creative project for Africa. I have a bit more than 20 albums now, you know, and these are all important. I've painted for Walt Disney. I've painted for my biggest inspiration, Salvador Dali. I had an exhibition with him. All of these great things that are motivating me to continue to work in my profession. But my biggest accomplishment remains my personality. We have to work, because all of the art we produce will be a derived product of who we are as a human being. Salvador Dali once said, he was interviewed and the interviewer asked him, "Are you a good painter?" And he said, "No, I'm not a good painter." While he was the most famous painter living on earth, you know, he said, "I'm not a good painter." And everyone was kind of surprised. He left a little dramatic break, and then he said, "But it's important to know that I am the most important art piece of the century." So he was not seeing himself as a good painter. He was seeing himself as someone who sculpted his personality to a level of precision that now everything that comes out of him is art and is magnetizing. But it's not these small little accomplishments that makes him. It's my relation to God, my relation to values, my relation to my demons. All of these relations are, every time I win, are the thing that are magnetizing new professional accomplishment. But it doesn't come from outside in, it comes from inside out. So to me, it's important for all the people listening that all of these flashy bling bling accomplishment, amounts of money we can make, big accolades, they're worth nothing if your personality is trash, if your values are not properly placed, if you're not doing good for your communities. All of these accolades are pure vanity, and vanity fades away. And that's not what I want to build. I want to build a solid monument on rock, not on sand. And I'm building it brick by brick. And some of the bricks are bigger and more shiny, but it's still not about the brick. It's about the house I'm building and the people I'll be able to welcome in that house. You know, that remain my biggest, the thing I'm the most proud of. You know.
Damn, that's good. What is a current habit that helps you improve your mindset and skill sets when you approach making music or painting?
I would say prayer. Prayer is my biggest technical tools because the thing that I lack, I ask for it and life provides. So if I lack new flows in my music, I lack melodies. 3 months later, I'm in studio, boom, I'm having a top line I never sing in my life, and then I have an R&B top line. And I don't know where it come from. But yeah, I do know where it come from. It come from me self-programming myself and being patient enough for these manifestations to land on me. So I would say the best thing for me in art, I do a meditation, like a conscious prayer before every interview. Before this interview, I did my prayer. I asked for the universe to fill me and to answer for me and to take control of my inspiration on the moment. And it's the process I do with every shows, every oil painting, every mural, every studio session. I'm putting my gift into the hand of the know-it-all, and I let his angel do the work, you know. So I would say that's my biggest technical capacity, because all the rest will follow this, you know. I've been asking for collaborations that will show the people my value, because I feel I'm underrepresented and underappreciated in Quebec. And then poop, 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 all of these things start popping up. Kendrick Lamar, Impasse, Connaisseur, and then I go to new places. People don't even know these artists, but these artists has millions of followers in Uganda and in Rwanda, and then they do songs with me, and then I'm on those playlists, and I have capacity to make all of this new networking. I would say all of this come from me visualizing what I really need. And from that, I ask it. Ask and you will receive. And then you may not receive it the way you were planning on. It may come in a different way. If I'm asking, because what you ask will come with the surrounding variables of what you ask for. If I'm praying to become rich, I may be suicidal.
Right.
Yeah, life will listen to me, will give me wealth, but I will lose friends. I will be surrounded with snakes. I will lose purpose. So you have to know what you're praying for, because life really listen to what you pray for. So if I'm praying to be a more humble person, maybe that means that my next 10 album will flop. Maybe that's what I'm praying for. So I have to accept that. If I'm praying to be a more humble people, maybe it means that I will always be underloved and underrepresented, and that's how life is giving me what I asked for. So you will get what you asked for, you know. So I would say my biggest technical capacity remain my connection to God and my capacity to be heard and to be patient and to receiving the answer of what I ask for, you know.
Got to be careful, beware of what you're going to pray for or ask for.
Because it comes with the package of that reality, you know?
Yeah, now it's very deep what you're saying, because 50 always keeps saying that. 50 Cent, he always keeps saying that when we pray for success, when we pray for success and money, we don't pray for envies and jealousy. That comes with it. So the duality of things.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
When, as a creative person, it's important to read the room and feel people's energy, which I know that's something you really have. You're keen to. You're very good at that. What are the defining moments in your life that have enabled you to be at peace with yourself?
Am I at peace with myself? That's another question. But yeah, I think we have to be able to forgive ourselves, you know? I think we make mistakes, and we can't live in shame. Like, shame is not healthy. Shame, like, so if I use Christian lingo, like, the roots of sin is guilt. So it's not about the actual action, it's about the feeling of you feeling guilty. So the sin is the guilt. If we understand that we are human beings with temptation, with reality, then we know we can forgive ourselves. If not, we will remain in shame and in guilt. So
having grace.
I guess I remain in peace with myself by forgiving myself, because I make mistakes on a daily. Speak too much, speak not enough. All of these things, all of these flow in us, and if we don't want to be like restricted, by confined, by self-hate or by self-disappointment, then you need to be able to let go and to do the work necessary for this to not be a loop that always come back in your life and break the loop, you know. And I would say those moments where I've achieved that was rebalancing all the moments I didn't, you know. So I think the process of being in peace with myself is not to be perfect, but it's working towards being better, and that's enough for me to accept where I'm at on the journey, you know.
That's it, because we're always a work in progress at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's how I would phrase it.
You once said, that was deep when you said that. You said that when you paint a deceased person,
Yeah.
you're not just painting that person, but you're also painting the community which he or she was centered.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about this?
Yeah, I would say mourning is a deep thing. Letting go of people we love and they pass away, it's a deep thing. And graffiti is something that is done outside. It's in the community. You don't go to a museum. It's in your face, you know? And just as much coming out of the barber or having a new pair of shoes will change your inner vibration.
Yeah.
It's the same thing on a global scale for graffiti in a neighborhood, you know. Only one good mural can change that neighborhood. This is where they're going to do their video clip, their selfies, their podcast. It becomes the center of the community. So if you can find something that is worth keeping and preserving in the community, then you have touched even something even more precious, you know. And often the thing that the community want to keep and want to remind themselves of is the great pillars that came from that community.
Yes.
So that's what I do. I paint those pillars, dead or alive. Those people that have influenced a community, by painting them, I'm painting all of their team, all of their neighborhood, all of their people that they touched. They feel an appartenance.
Yes.
With
Belonging, yes.
Yeah, they feel a belonging to that person, to his journey, and to the mural that is made for him or for her. So I started discovering also the quality of painting people I know when I decided that it was not really ethical and moral to paint pictures that I was finding on Google, you know. You paint some random people, okay, a woman crying, and boom, and you have random woman crying, and then you repaint it on a wall, you know.
Right.
I felt it was a waste of energy. And if I can actually take my own pictures of the people that I love and keep that as a box of reference,
Yes.
whenever I'll need to paint something, someone in my network will fit the description and I'll be able to paint them. And so I transform normal people into royalty on 3-floor high walls. They're painted, they see themselves, they feel seen, they feel loved and appreciated. So it started even before painting people who were passing away. Starting to paint pillars of my community felt like a really good way to empower my community. So when we lose someone that we love in our community, it's a powerful thing to regather around murals, around art pieces that are made to remember these people. So that's what happened with Jean-Loup when I painted Jean-Loup, when I painted my brother Vice Versus from New York. And I will continue to paint for the people who pass away as a way to help the process of going back to peace, you know?
Got it. Perfect, perfect. There's a quote that says, "We're all equal in soul, but we're not equal in the marketplace." What comes to mind when you hear that?
I say diamond in the rough. The diamond in the rough will not be seen by buyers the same way that a finished sculpted diamond will be seen. So you have to find a way to sculpt yourself and to sculpt the way you present yourself to the world also to be seen fully. I would say the market is biased anyway. The market is depend on the value of the region you're in, depend of the time you're part in, you know. Even like the reference for beauty has changed through the eras. It went from having a bit of weight to being super skinny to now having fake lips and fake everything, you know. So we change. So the market also changed. And I wouldn't say the market is ethical reference to me.
Right.
The market is not an ethical reference, is an economical reality.
Yeah.
So I don't base my value on the value of the market. I base my value on more universal criteria, like we spoke earlier, virtues and stuff like this. But I use the market to accomplish my dreams and my visions. And for example, the art market is built on reputation. The canvas is only worth whatever you can make someone believe it is worth. You know, there's no real price to it, you know. So you have to create a personality that is so worthy that people will find any tool possible to keep a memory of you in their reality. And that can be a song of you or an art piece of you. So the market is sometimes like a dictator. It forces you to do certain things. But me, because I love intelligent disobedience, I disobey the market. I do whatever I want, and I show the market that I'm above it. I'm above the market. My relation to the world is beyond what the market is, and I will survive the market. And the proof is my value is growing every year, and I still have no contract with any art gallery, no record deal, no label, no sponsor, no grants for the government. I do everything from the sovereign relation I have with my creator, and everything come from that relation. And I'm still on top of the market. Even if I say a big middle finger to the market, even if they boycott me for 20 years, I will be 60 and they will still pay five numbers to have a conference with me. They will still pay 6 numbers to have a mural from me. They still, why? Because I'm stubborn. I'm stubborn in the truth that has been given to my soul, and my soul is more valuable than the market. So if I subdue my soul to the market, I lost my chance to be on top of the market, and I will become a subject and a slave to the market. And I refuse this. This is why none of my album ever had barcode on it. Never. I have 26 albums, none of them had a barcode on it. None of them, because to me it was a spiritual statement to say the industry doesn't own me. I won't put a barcode on my shit. My soul is forever lasting, and this is not a temporary market that would sculpt how I will move in life. I will move the way I want, and I will use the market as a vehicle for whatever vision I have.
That's interesting, but you said you never had a barcode. So you could technically move, what you're saying is important because you could technically move within this industry without having a barcode.
Yeah, but you have to be creative. That's all about it. Like, for example, you want to sell your thing in a HMV or whatever, like a store.
Yeah.
You can always, we had these albums back then that it was like a cardboard album,
Yes.
and then you open it, and then you have the real album inside.
Right, yes.
Well, you can put your barcode on the first layers, and then you peel that layer, and now your album doesn't have a barcode. You know, that's not what I did. I had like all of my album except the first one, which had 1,000 copy without barcode, and had 1,000 copy with barcode. But those copy were not mine; they were to the label. Okay. The label, they forced me to do it because I was signed for my first album, and that's the only time I've ever signed an album. I didn't like that idea. You know, I was even negotiating in France with Naive, the biggest independent company, and they were telling me, like, I didn't have my face on any of my album thus far. It's always a visual art that I put there. And they were telling me, hey, for the market, we need to put your blue eyes on the album cover. And already I was like, no, you don't understand me. I'm not going to let that market change the spiritual vision that I had for my journey. And I said, no. You have the right to say no. You have this. And I would say that's the biggest freedom I gain. When I start having enough money, let's say, to pay my rent for 3 years, I say I have 3 years of rent. So now I'm not forced to say yes to anyone, right? Any project that is immoral, unethical, or lowering my branding, I'm just saying no to it. And I'm passing it to a colleague or to someone else, you know? And when I start being more severe and more rigid on what I was accepting and not accepting, my value went up again, you know? So that's the proof that the more you are stubborn into following the precision of your inner vision, the more people will value you. And often I felt it in even in romantic situation, you know? Woman is asking you to change, you know? But if you actually do change, she will stop loving you. So that's kind of like a trigger place. She doesn't like the fact that you're so independent, but if you become clingy, she will be the one losing interest in you. So the market is the same way. The market is asking you, do this, do this, do this. But if you say no to the market and you do whatever is right in your mind, then the market will be so in love with you and so like, oh, he's so special, he's so different. He was able to say no to me and still remain a good, benevolent human being, you know. I would say that's the path I'm striving, I'm working, and I'm sculpting now. I know my best art piece are gonna be the last one I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna create a body of work that is faithful to that vision, to the fact that will never be subdued by the market.
That's it. Standing 10 toes down and firm on your decision, having boundaries, setting boundaries.
Yeah, man.
Few last questions. I like to move into this segment called If I Had the Chance To. So that means if you had the chance to sit in front of a 16-year-old Monk.E
Yeah.
today, what would you tell that person and why?
Maybe I would tell him you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Maybe I would tell him this. I guess there's something that is part of my old journey, which is a search for humility. Because I knew that in my journey I had to boast all the time as a rapper, as a battle rapper, as an independent artist, as a like doing a medium that is not respected by the academy, like spray paint, oh, that's not real art. All my life I had to be a warrior and to be on the front of pushing my culture to new horizon. But that also created a pattern of egocentrism and being self-centered and speaking too much and all of these things that in a professional setting
Right.
that was okay for me to carry these attributes, but now in a social setting it's not okay. I'm
Right.
disturbing others.
Yeah,
So I would say all my
ruffling
life
feathers.
was to find a way to find a coherence and to find a way to be respected and listened to without being toxic to my surrounding. So I would say I would speak, and also that's something that is I find it's interesting. The moment I was the most arrogant and pretentious, or the moment I was the most insecure. It's the moment where I felt all the people made it in the room, that I was coming in the room and I was name dropping people and trying to be at the level of everyone would see me, oh, he's trying to pretend he's on top of the world. But the truth is I felt inferior in the situation. So I used arrogance as a way to bring me back to the level of everyone else. So if I was to meet me when I was younger, I would just give myself love and tell me like, it's okay that you're not like others. It's okay that they don't see you yet. It's don't try too much. Just be you. Don't try to be loved by everyone. It won't work anyway.
Facts.
People will love you better if you don't try to be loved by everyone. Because if you try to be loved by everyone, there's something fishy. There's like how do you call it? Like attention whore. Like
Right.
you have all of these terms, all of these things that you become disbalanced and disharmonized with your surroundings. So
True.
I would tell the younger version of me to be patient, to love yourself, to accept the fact that you have a gift that is special, but you don't need to tell everyone. They will discover in due time, you know. And I think that I would have a smoother trajectory in the industry because I wouldn't create jealousy and people thinking that I'm trying to compete with them, where truthfully I was competing against my own insecurity and demons, you know. I think that's what I would tell so much. I would understand that it's my time to speak and that little 16 years old monkey need to listen, and I would speak a bunch, you know. But it's okay because I'm here now, so I don't regret anything, you know.
Amazing. Last few words, or how can anybody get in touch with you? Plug your social media handles. Feel free.
Well, if you connect yourself on the frequency of gratitude, we can telepathically communicate everywhere I'll be on the world. So just be a grateful human being, and you can send me comments in the comment section of telepathic understanding, and we'll be connected. But in this world, in the physical world, my name is written Monk.E. And if you Google that with Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, you will find all of my platforms. I'm the one managing all of my platforms. I'm the one answering all the DMs. So if you have any question, you're welcome to start creating that bridge of conversation between us. And last word is just gratitude. Like we need to, I think, because this world is so painful, we need to have the same intensity in celebrating the beauty that we are and the love that we share, the brotherly love and all of these things. So I would just say gratitude for you, gratitude for the huge team that you have around you that help the sound be good, the light be good, the image be good. Gratitude to you to think that there's a relevance in what I have to say and in my journey. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be included and to be shared, for my ideas to be shared in your audience, in your network that you're working hard to build, you know. So that would say my last word. Just I'm being thankful.
Appreciate that, and we're thankful also that you're here. Thankful for all of the gems that you're sharing, because this works. This works as a team effort, right? At the end of the day, I'm the one hosting. However, there's people behind the scenes that work as hard as we do, and that we appreciate every single moment we see. So that's why when I come in the room, I make sure I shake everybody's hands. I take a look at everybody's temperature just to make sure that the vibe is good. And one thing I like about you is that you come with your authentic self, no matter where you go. Last time I saw you, you dressed the way you're dressed, in a way, not the same outfit, obviously, but you dress the way you want to dress, and you stand on principles. That's what I love about what you're doing, and it's honorable, it's respectable, and you're also an amazing artist. I saw you perform at the block party of Harlem Original, so that's great. I love
Energy.
Man, when you rap, I'm like, okay, I gotta figure out a way to create a bar out of what you're saying. Even though I stopped rapping a long time ago, but it creates that it inspires me in that certain manner. So
that's blessed. That's all I wish for.
all I just gotta say is, man, keep being your authentic self. It means a lot to this world. Peace,
Much
man.
love, my G.
Love.
Big up.
Trust me. There you have it, another episode of Elevate the Mic, where we elevate the mindset and skill sets of individuals who are part of the hip hop community. Peace.
Peace.